think there's a couple of reasons. One is I think it's if you think of red and white as brands, red is the better brand because it's seen as being healthier. I mean, healthier to opium or something, but it's not healthier, but it's seen
red
as...
wine, we're healthier than opium.
But, so So I think of the two, it's seen as the healthier one, but also it's the more visually interesting one. It matches the whole color palette that wine ads tend to have, which are this kind of reds and the browns. So I think it does both of those things.
And what about this moment? I don't want to see anyone manhandling my grapes. Russell, you once manhandled my grapes. No. Russell, why show this in the ad?
I actually love that shot because there is something about red wine that nature gave us wine, and we thank nature every day, yeah? and I think that's why it's so popular. That's why people enjoy it, because they just do feel that it's from the earth. Without really knowing anything about wine, you just sort of feel like, you just pick the grapes and squeeze it and stick it in a bottle and look what happens when you drink it, right? So you thank nature every day.
If you keep in mind that we're drinking the image that the advertising is creating, and that the reality of the product, not for all but for most, is it's industrialized. It's chemists, lab coats, tanks, vats. So this ad is, in some ways, it's a misdirection or kind of a branding cover-up of the reality. And you notice that they're no longer using, because the research has now shown that the stomping on the grapes is just too disgusting for most people. So now the equivalent of that is the crushing of the grapes. They never do that. They used to do the stomping traditionally. So they romanticize it or create a brand image in your mind, because they really don't want the real image in your mind, which it's industrialized in vats, and you'll pay less for that.
Because the image has got to be passion. Yes, because in the end, red is passion, and red wine is passion. And what happens as a result of drinking it can lead to passion.
I feel like we're learning more about you than the category. Let's talk about the labels. Wine brands love words like dog, stone, yard, cloud, and hill. There are plenty of hand-drawn pictures, but I'm yet to see a wine font in Comic Sans. Lucy, are there rules for wine label design?
Well, they're really important. They're sometimes described as being the wine's billboard in a shop, because they have that 2 to 6 second impression to make, and there's just so many and not all of the labels can afford to advertise. And there are some rules. So the hand-drawn is all about giving that impression that it's not made in a vat and that it's all, handcrafted, when the truth is it's probably some massive corporate that owns it.
Yeah, the label is the last ad in the process. And the general rule with the labels is make it look more expensive than it is. That's one general rule. And the other way to do that is minimalism. So, like Penfold is one word, and white. So the less you use often symbolizes it being more expensive or a better wine. Now, that is changing as people start to appeal to the millennials. They're making it a little bit more colorful, still trying to be as minimalist as they can, but making it a bit more colorful so it's attractive.
You're right that the label is the last ad that you have for the wine, which is why it's always intrigued me that the advertising itself isn't the label. Wouldn't you, if you're in the wine business, wouldn't you just make advertising which was just a total reflection of what was on the label? So when I get to the bottle shop, I've seen the advertising, which is the label that makes me buy the wine. It strikes me as being so obvious. Why hasn't someone done that?
But why doesn't someone do that across any packaged good?
They should.
I know.
The other thing you see a lot of on wine bottles is medals, which are so ubiquitous, they seem more like participation prizes. Todd, why does every wine want to win a gold medal?
Again, consensus is a very powerful persuasion tool. So for a lot of people, the choice of wine is a high-risk situation. If you're buying it for yourself, that's fine. But if you're buying it at a dinner with other people, it says a lot about you. If you're buying something that you're going to pull out in front of other people, so people want to minimize risk as much as possible. So one way to do that, because people trust people more than they trust brands, is if other people independently